Imagine a life where every sigh is a strategy, every glance a silent negotiation. You are trained not just in the art of seduction, but in the precise angle of a wrist, the perfect cadence of a footstep. Your existence is a performance, played out on a stage of silk, sweat, and subtle power games. Tonight, we don't just learn about history, we step into it. We become a concubine in feudal Japan. From the first sliver of dawn to the deep, uncertain quiet of the night, dim the lights, and let's begin. Dawn arrives with the subtlety of a polite knock. No roosters, no fanfare, just a faint glow filtering through rice paper doors and the soft shuffle of servants pretending they aren't judging your futon posture. You lie perfectly still, not because you're rested, but because any abrupt movement might shatter your carefully constructed image of grace and mystery. The air itself feels thin and expectant, carrying the scent of damp moss from the garden and the faint, lingering aroma of last night's incense. You practice breathing in a way that makes no sound, a skill that has taken years to master. In this world, even the act of taking in air can be perceived as a sign of anxiety or impatience. In truth, your back aches, your hair is flattened on one side, and you had a bizarre dream about eels you'd rather not analyze. But none of that matters. This is the first scene of the day's performance. You are both the star and the stage decoration. Your attendants enter, bowing so low you could almost step over them. A warm basin is set before you, as if to say, here is your dignity. Now, scrub behind your ears. They begin their work cleansing, brushing, preparing you to look less like a person who just woke up and more like a porcelain enigma. Your face is washed with reverence, not because they love you, but because they've seen what happens to court women who show up with frizz. The water is infused with chamomile, a small luxury you fought for, a silent assertion of rank. The cloth they use is silk, of course, soft and cool against your skin. A fleeting moment of genuine comfort before the performance begins. Still silent, heaven forbid a concubine speak before being powdered. You glance at your reflection in a polished bronze mirror. You look like someone who has opinions, but is paid not to share them. Perfect. From behind a sliding screen, you hear the muffled laughter of the daimyo. He has energy this morning. That's either a promising sign or a warning. You rise from the futon like a swan emerging from fork, assuming the swan also has numb legs and the prospect of a spine-crushing obi in its near future. The illusion has begun. Now that you're upright, it's time for makeup, or as it's known in the concubine industry, historical self-erasure with a side of toxins. Step 1 is the white powder, made from crushed rice and, in some cases, enough lead to qualify as a building material. Your attendant pats it onto your face, as if she's covering up a crime scene. The goal? To eliminate all signs of life. This porcelain canvas is a declaration of status. It separates you from the sun-kissed skin of field workers, making you a creature of the indoors, of leisure, of value. It is a mask that hides not just blemishes, but your true emotions, rendering your face a placid lake for others to project their desires upon. If your skin tone resembles anything found in nature, you're doing it wrong. Next, your neck and chest are powdered. Because heaven forbid the daimyo glimpses a patch of skin that doesn't look like it was painted by a ghost. Then come the eyebrows. Yours are irrelevant. They're painted over and redrawn several centimeters too high, creating a look that says, "I'm surprised by everything and emotionally unavailable." It's considered alluring. Now, the lips, not fully painted, but a dainty red splotch in the middle, meant to look demure. They call this lip style bainihiki, and it's meant to resemble a small, budding flower, a promise of beauty, not yet in full bloom, forever coy and inviting. Instead, it looks like you kissed a plum and ran, but you nod approvingly. If it feels strange and unflattering, you're probably doing it right. And finally, the teeth blackening. Yes, really. A sticky iron paste is carefully brushed onto your teeth, making your smile look like it's been censored. The practice, called ohaguro, is ancient. While it signals you are taken, it also serves a strange aesthetic purpose. The stark black makes the white of your powdered face seem even whiter, more luminous, more inhuman. It is a commitment to an ideal of beauty that has nothing to do with nature. In practice, it just gives you one more reason not to grin too often. Throughout this ordeal, you sit like a statue being vandalized by a very polite team of artists. You do not move. You do not comment. You certainly do not ask, "Is this really necessary?" The answer is always yes. Not because it makes sense, but because it's been done this way for centuries. By the end, you look like a painting come to life if the painting was done by someone who hated skin and loved drama. After being powdered into an emotionally distant mask, it's time to get dressed. And by dressed, I mean willingly entering a fabric-based entrance challenge. First, the underlayers of breathable cotton, meant to stop your fancier garments from fusing to your soul in the summer heat. They don't succeed, but they offer the illusion of ventilation. Next, the inner robes, each layered in a precise, symbolic order. Today's choice is a pale lavender over a deep plum. The lavender signifies grace. The plum suggests hidden passion, a subtle message for anyone who cares to read it, including the daimyo himself. It is a poem worn on the body. The color combinations are a silent language. Dark red over pale green means elegant but mysterious, while white over gold says, "Please don't speak to me before tea." Then comes the outer kimono, heavier, shinier, and far less forgiving. This one is a masterpiece of dyed silk. Its fabric so dense it feels like liquid metal. The pattern is of weeping cherry blossoms, beautiful and tragic, a constant reminder of the fleeting nature of beauty and favor. By now, your sleeves are long enough to smother a rival concubine if needed. And finally, the obi, the silk sash that ties it all together, while silently trying to crush your spine. It's pulled tight enough to remind you that you're not allowed to breathe freely until sunset. As they tighten the final knot, you feel your diaphragm compress. You take a smaller, shallower breath. This is the breath of a lady. Full, deep breaths are for farmers and warriors. You don't dress yourself. Of course, you stand still while two attendants wrap, fold, and tug, adjusting you as if they're making origami out of a human being. They don't speak, but an occasional grunt when a fold doesn't lie flat is all the communication needed. By the time they're done, you've lost feeling in your ribs, but you look magnificent. Like a walking imperial scroll with passive-aggressive eyes. This is your daily outfit. You might just sit in the garden pretending to read poetry all day. But you must look ready for a royal portrait or a spontaneous seduction. You're now wearing more fabric than a small pavilion tent. Now that you've been powdered, robed, and fed a meal roughly the size of a toddler's snack, it's time for a concubine's primary daily task, waiting. But not just any waiting. Elegant waiting. Waiting that whispers, "Yes, I'm entirely free," but in a powerful way. You can't just wander the estate. Heavens no. That's how scandals happen. Instead, you are placed in your designated space, a tastefully minimal room, with a view of a koi pond that hasn't done anything interesting since last autumn. The pond is your universe for now. The koi are living jewels, their scales of gold and crimson catching the shifting afternoon light. One, a magnificent golden one they call kogane, swims with a lazy arrogance, as if it knows it is the master of this small, liquid world. You watch it, and for a moment, you feel a strange kinship. You are both beautiful, both trapped in a gilded cage. Your movements dictated by an unseen hand. You sit, you wait. Occasionally, you adjust your posture to look like you're contemplating eternity, not fighting off a leg cramp. You must not look impatient. That's for merchants and wives. Concubines wait, as if they are doing you a favor. This wait could last 10 minutes or 5 hours. The daimyo may summon you, or he may not. He could be with another woman, reading war poetry, or simply napping. You'll find out when someone tells you, or doesn't. Time here is not linear. It is a pool of water. Sometimes it ripples with the possibility of a summons. Most of the time, it is stagnant, reflecting only your own powdered face back at you. To pass the time, you might compose a poem, something vaguely sad about plum blossoms and unspoken longing. You could also play a shamisen, softly, not too joyful. No one likes a concubine who seems overly excited. The notes you play are delicate, like raindrops falling on a leaf. Each one is a question without an answer. The music is not for an audience. It is for the silence. A way to fill it with something other than your own thoughts. Of course, the other women are waiting, too. Sometimes within sight. It's a silent competition. Who looks most serene? Who adjusted her robe just right? It's chess played with glances and posture. You must appear as if your entire sense of self-worth doesn't hang on being summoned tonight. Which, of course, it absolutely does. You sigh quietly, beautifully, and gaze into the distance, preferably at something poetic, like a single falling leaf. If the morning was about preparation, the afternoon is about positioning. By now, the other concubines are fully assembled. You exchange nods, shallow bows, and smiles that look warm but could cut glass. This isn't friendship. It's scented espionage. Everyone is watching, listening, and quietly trying to sabotage each other's reputations without ever raising their voice. The conversation is trivial by design. Lady Aiko's calligraphy has improved. Translation: She used to write like a drunken monk. The daimyo seemed very peaceful this morning. Translation. He didn't summon you, did he? And the classic. You look radiant today. Which actually means, you look less dead than usual. Congratulations. Compliments are verbal daggers sheathed in politeness. A servant arrives with tea. The ritual is another battlefield. You observe Lady Kimmy, the current favorite. She accepts her cup with a grace that is almost too perfect. Her fingers arranged just so. She sips. And a tiny, almost imperceptible drop of tea clings to her lip for a second too long. A flicker of triumph goes through you. A flaw. Small. But it exists. You, on the other hand, drink your tea flawlessly. Your sleeve held back with practiced ease. Your lips clean. It is a victory no one will ever speak of. But everyone in the room has noted it. Then, someone mentions the daimyo. Maybe he was seen walking near the pond. The room becomes still, but casually so. This is when the performance deepens. You must seem interested, but not too interested. Confident, but not cocky. Available, but untouched. It's like trying to be a dessert that everyone wants, but no one is sure is safe to eat. Through it all, you keep your voice soft, your posture impeccable, and your insults indirect. This is how status is gained not through war, but through whispers. And if you leave the room with even one rival doubting her sleeve choice, her poem, or her scent, you've done well today. You might even offer a gift, a small, hand-painted fan. You present it to Lady Suki, whose own fan broke yesterday. A trifle, you say, smiling. I hope it brings you a cool breeze. The unspoken message. I am generous and composed, while you are clumsy and unprepared. She must accept it with a smile, though she knows it is an act of benevolent dominance. It doesn't happen with trumpets. There's no scroll unrolled by a herald. The summons, when it finally comes, arrives the way most terrifying things do in high society. Politely, a soft knock, a bowed messenger, a single phrase. His lordship requests your presence. Translation. You've been chosen. You have 20 minutes to mentally prepare, repowder, and spiritually detach. Your attendants spring into action. Your heart gives a single, sharp thump against your ribs. A traitorous display of emotion that no one can see. You steady your breathing, forcing the tremor in your hands to cease. A professional does not tremble. You, meanwhile, try to look neither smug nor nauseous. It could mean he favors you, or it could mean his favorite is annoyed with him and you're the understudy. Either way, tonight you're on stage. First comes reapplication, a fresh layer of powder to mask the existential dread, a touch of rouge to say alive, but mysterious. You switch to a more expensive kimono, the one with cranes embroidered in flight. Because nothing says I'm worth undressing slowly like symbolic birds in gold thread. Your hair is perfected. A little extra yuzu all dabbed behind your ears. You smell of restraint and citrus-scented ambition. As you walk toward his private chambers, the hallway stretches on forever. The polished wooden floors reflect the paper lanterns like a dark, still river. Your soft Toby socks make almost no sound. But to you, Each footstep echoes like a drumbeat, counting down the moments until the performance. You pass a painted screen depicting a tiger in a bamboo forest, a predator, powerful and alone. You feel a pang of recognition. You are not the tiger, but you live in its forest, forever navigating the shadows it casts. Behind closed doors, rival concubines pretend not to notice, but they do. Oh, they do. You reach the inner room. A screen slides open, and you bow. Deeply. You're not nervous, just incredibly aware that for the next few hours, you must be art, warmth, mystery, and convenience, and maybe, just maybe, unforgettable. The evening doesn't start with disrobing, it starts with ritual, a slow, fragrant descent into a flirtation so formal it could be mistaken for a tea ceremony with unresolved tension. You sit, not too close. There's a lacquered table between you, a pot of sake warming silently, and enough eye contact to fuel an entire haiku anthology. He pours you a cup. You sip it slowly, as if it's a coded invitation to be charming. The sake is warm and smooth, a gentle fire that spreads through your chest. It helps to calm the last of your nerves. He speaks of a recent hunt, of the flight of an arrow, of the decisiveness required of a leader. You listen, your head tilted at the perfect angle of demure fascination. You are not just a body. You are an audience, a mirror reflecting his own greatness back at him. This is a crucial part of your role. Compliments begin. His robe is magnificent. Your hair, exquisite. No one mentions that you both know exactly how this night ends. That's part of the game. Eventually, the formality fades. The lights dim, and you follow him into the adjoining chamber. This isn't romance. It's government-approved performance art. You've trained for this. Months of lessons on posture, touch, and facial expressions that say, yes, I'm enjoying this, without ever crossing into anything as vulgar as honesty. The air is scented with incense that promises serenity, though it really just tickles your nostrils. The scent is sandalwood, heavy and sacred. It is meant to elevate the act beyond the physical, to cloak it in spirituality. He begins the ritual with a touch, soft and measured. You respond just enough to signal interest, never so much as to appear enthusiastic. Mystery is sexy. Desperation is not. You move the way you were taught, gracefully, as if choreographed by someone who's never been in love but has read a lot of poetry about it. Every gesture is precise. Every sound a carefully calibrated note in a symphony of seduction. Eventually, it ends. He may say something. He may not. You smile either way. You rise, redress, and bow, carefully hiding the cramp that started somewhere in Act 2. And then, you leave. You do not look back. This wasn't for connection. This was for position. And tonight, you had it. For now. He's asleep, sprawled out like a man who has just conquered a province. You lie beside him, eyes open, mind racing. Did you do well? Was that one breath so loud? You replay every moment, every glance, every touch, analyzing them for flaws. It is a ruthless self-critique. In this profession, there are no second chances to make a first impression. and no third chances to hold a man's fleeting interest. Your performance is your only currency. You can't leave too soon. That seems cold. You can't stay too long. That seems clingy. So you lie there, counting the bamboo slats on the ceiling and wondering if the other concubines are awake. They probably are. You imagine them in their own rooms, their ears straining for any sound from this part of the palace. They are not sleeping. They are calculating. Eventually, you rise. The graceful post-coital exit is a delicate art. You gather your robe, tie your sash, and walk as if you know the entire palace is watching. The cool night air on the veranda is a shock to your warm skin. It feels real, cleansing. For a moment, you are not a concubine, just a woman standing under the moon. The feeling is gone as quickly as it came, because in this place, they always are watching. You return to your quarters. Someone has already lit a lamp. The tea is warm. You drink it without tasting it. Only then do you exhale. You don't know if tonight meant anything, or if he'll remember you tomorrow. But you know this. You were chosen, and in this world, that is courtesy. Even if it only lasts until sunrise. You wake up early again, not refreshed, but because concubines don't get to sleep in, your attendants enter, their eyes politely avoiding yours. No one says anything, but they all know. The scent of incense still lingers on your skin. They begin the process anew. Powder, comb, fold, reconstructing the masterpiece that is your public face. Today, you are not the favorite, but you are still in the game, and in this palace, survival looks an awful lot like stillness in silk. It starts subtly. One day, the maid forgets your favorite incense. Another day, your tea arrives lukewarm. The message is clear. You are no longer tonight's mystery. Someone else's. Added content. It is a girl named Hannah, barely 17, with eyes as bright and artless as a spring morning. You see the daimyo laugh at one of her clumsy jokes. A genuine, unguarded laugh you haven't heard in years. It doesn't sting as much as you thought it would. It is simply a fact. Like the changing of the seasons, the fan of attention has turned, and it's not pointing at you. Now comes the true test. Can you stay poised while being quietly replaced? Can you compliment your successor's hairpin while mentally calculating how long she lasts? At a banquet, you are seated 3 cushions away from the daimyo, a distance that feels like a chasm. You watch Hannah spill a little sake, and you see him gently wipe it from her sleeve with his own hand, a gesture of intimacy he never afforded you. You feel a pang, not of jealousy, but of a strange, detached pity. She does not yet know the rules. She does not know that the warmth of his gaze is as fleeting as the cherry blossoms she wears in her hair. This is the unspoken part of the job. Not just being chosen, but being unchosen with grace. The fall from favor isn't a scandal. It's just a shift in the tide. You still attend the garden gatherings, still compose poems, but you are a supporting character in someone else's story. But you're still here, still powdered, still composed, still waiting, because in a palace like this, everything shifts. Fortunes, fashions, favorites. All it takes is one wrong word, one broken fan. Years pass. Eventually, The paint comes off. Not just the rice powder, but the performance, the posture. You catch a glimpse of yourself without the costume and realize the strange thing is, you're still there. Beneath the layers of silk and jealousy lives a woman who remembers everything. You remember the precise scent of the yuzu oil from that first night. You remember the weight of his hand. You remember the bitter taste of a rival's victory and the sweet, fleeting taste of your own. These memories are not scars. They are your armor. You've smiled through rejection and planned your emotional survival. What do you have to show for it? A spine stronger than your obi and the quiet respect of a palace full of women who either fear you or hope they age half as well as you. Because here's the secret, concubines fade. But they also endure. And in a world built on being desirable, endurance is the most rebellious act of all. You no longer rush to the mirror. Some days, you skip the full makeup ritual and just sit by the koi pond, watching Kogane, the old golden koi, who is still swimming his lazy circles. You have become like him, a survivor. When the new girls arrive, powdered and bright-eyed, you smile, not kindly, not cruelly, just knowingly. You have played the game and you are still here, and that is a power no one can ever take away.